step is to mount the motors. So we're going to need these three things. We're going to need bag A8, which is this guy here. A million little metric screws. These we probably won't need until later, so alright, got the right Allen wrench for it. So it looks like, no, we are going to need the motors. At the same page, motors. So now we can put the two slotted sides down with the bracket facing inward. Okay, the M4x10s, these little tiny ones, so we can separate these actually. Okay, now we're organized. So I'm just gonna leave these loose. Oh geez, we're gonna need washers. Oh wait, I got it backwards, my bad guys. You need the bigger ones. So I won't use washers since it's all metal. I'm just putting the 4 screws in the top plate where they go. Okay, that's on there snug. We'll do this next one nice and close up. Boom, okay. Different approach this time, doing it by hand first. Oh crud, my hand's in the way the whole time. Jeez. Terrible filmer. Okay, third one. I gotta rotate this beast. Uh-oh. That was not very smart. Okay. Alright, cool. So now we're going to mount the motors, and I think this little hole on this right side here is where the wire's going to go. So I'm going to mount my connector that way, so that way the wire can just go directly from connector into that hole. So let's do that with all these little tiny screws. I think that works. Sorry about the camera angle. I will try and brighten it in post. Okay, so I did make a mistake. I mounted these backwards, so I'm going to go ahead and reverse them, but I'm not going to stop timing myself. That's going to be a mistake that I'm going to include into my time. So, let's do this again. Time lapse time. So this time, I'm going to go ahead and just tighten them all the way down, and I'm just basically pushing these as far back as they go. Alright, so now we gotta get the other ones done. Next one. This time I'm actually just tightening them down all the way. Just using the torque from the small side. So now we're going to use the small screws and install the motors. Finally back on the motors part. And again, I'm putting the connector facing towards the side where this hole is. See if my pinky goes in there. Whoop, whoop. Okay, there's one done. Next. You know what really helped when you do this? A lazy Susan. Okay. So I was going to do a live build, but the way I wanted to film the video is a lot different than the way I would have talked if I was in the live build. In the live build with all the viewers who are curious, are going to have questions, and I would answer them as I built. But this, I'm just getting through it the way you're supposed to. Last motor. Sorry if my hands are in the way. Alright, there you have it. 3 motors are now installed on top. And it does show that you have to install these 3 stepper gears. We'll do that next. So I really love these black ones. They're way better. So what I'm going to do here, actually I can use the light this time to show you this, is right in here. All I'm going to do is get this as close as I can to where it's not touching and just kind of space it off of there. And then I'm going to find the flat part of the stepper shaft, and I'm going to screw my grub screw to that section there. And you should be able to get it to lock to where it's stuck on that flat spot. See, like that. And then move that stepper gear as close as you can to the motor without it touching, and then we're going to tighten these. I always tighten these down pretty freaking tight, maybe even too tight, but who knows. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and use the long side and tighten that down, and then I'm going to turn it and get to the second grub screw, set screw I guess you can call them. I don't know why I'm calling them grub screws, and tighten that one down. Boom. Okay, and then the next step you're going to do is you're going to grab your belt from underneath, you're going to push it through this hole here. Set it on there. Okay, we're going to repeat on all sides. I just realized something pretty freaking bad. The right side of my belt was supposed to go underneath the plate, and I didn't put it on there. So that is going to be another 12 bolt mistake, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue. We're just going to unbolt the top frame, the belt the way it should be, and move on. Okay guys, so this is the mistake I made. Let's take this top part off. Oh, that one's still attached to the stepper. Let's get that off. So I'm gonna film this so I can add it in the beginning where you've already saw this before. So now that we got that done, let's reattach the top part and move on. So this is the reason why I snug all the screws first, because the top plate is kind of doing this horizontal movement, which is causing some binding on the first set of screws. So this way you can kind of adjust it, get all the screws to tap in nicely so you're not stripping any of the threads. And then after you got them all in, then I think you can go ahead and slam them all the way down. Okay, we're about 4 screws away from being where we were, and actually that took only 10 minutes. So if you make that same mistake, if you make the same mistake that I did, then it's not gonna be that bad. I feel like kind of like that I'm rushing this, but I'm not, making sure I'm doing everything right. But because of that feeling, it kind of feels like any little mistake is costing me a ton of time. But this literally took me about 10 minutes to correct. Just make sure you get it right in the first time. I'm pretty sure you did because I included that cut into the beginning, but let's do this. Okay, so now that you've put the brackets, the motors, and the stepper gears on there and they're nice and tight, we're going to go ahead and reach underneath. We're going to grab our belt and pop it up through this little hole here in front of the motor. And we're going to fit that right over our stepper gear. Boom! And we're going to do that to all 3 sides. So instead of moving this around, I'm just going to keep moving around my table here. So, they're all on. We can finally move on. Okay. Just finished that step. The next step is to grab bag A21 and we're going to add the tensioners at the bottom and we're going to tighten them. We're going to tune them to the key of A. I'm just kidding, we're not tuning anything. Okay, so we're going to get the idlers now. I'm going to lower my camera. We're going to go back down to the lower section of the printer and we're going to add these idler pulleys. Alright, so now we got our belt here. I'm not sure if you can see this. We're going to take these pieces out of bag A21. We are going to set them out. Nice little thin aluminum pieces like that. Okay, so there you go. And then one thing we're going to do is we're going to grab one of these M5 by 20s. Okay, I'm going to put that through the center here. Use the M5 nut, which is the one without the lock. Okay, and just throw that on there all nice and tight. So we're going to tie this, tighten that, and put a bearing on there, and then a lock nut on top. Okay, and I'm using the tools that are included. This little tiny wrench seems to be doing the trick, so I'm going to tighten that. Get it to where it doesn't rattle, but it'll spin also. Okay, and then so this piece here, the idler bearing, is going to be going inward. So you're going to put your T-nuts in that direction there like this. Okay, downwards. And then put your T-nuts on the other side like this. So basically on the same side as your idler pulley. Sweet, so there we go. You're just gonna put that idler pulley on your belt. Make sure your belt isn't tangled. Make sure, you know, the left side's on the left side, the right side's on the other side. Then I'm going to snug T-nut bolts. Okay, nice and easy. They grab, and while they're tight or snug like that, you can actually pull these down. Pull one side first. Okay, and I'm gonna tighten the heck out of that side. Okay, now I can loosen this other side a little bit. Pull that one down pretty good, just to about where they're level. Okay, let's loosen this other side. I'm gonna keep kind of going back and forth till your belt's pretty tight. Okay, so now kind of plays like a string. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that to the next two sides.
That thing is crazy tall.
No, it's huge.
Did you know it was going to be this big?
I knew it was going to be pretty huge, but I thought it'd be like a little bit shorter. Alright, moving on. Okay, so we're on to the next step. Now we can attach the bed here. So we need bag B32. Okay, has a bunch of spacers, and the screws already came with the bed. Up top, there's a bunch of mounting holes for the power box, which is over here. So what I'm gonna do, it's actually on this side, like right above it. The opposite side is where the power box is gonna be. So I am going to put my wire facing that way. Got 6 spacers. I'm gonna kind of set them where they need to go. Okay, kind of like this. Can you see that? And put the screws through the bed. And I'm gonna set it down into the spacers. Two more, I think. Find the holes now. Okay. Okay, got one in. Woohoo! Okay, now we're going to tighten in the star pattern. And that one is done. So now we're going to move to A91. Okay, and it looks like we have some limit switches here. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add these little, let's see if I can get a good view. Add these little things, okay? And we're gonna add them to the 2 tiny holes. There's like 4 holes right here where you mounted the motor. There's gonna be 2 holes just next to those, and you're gonna mount 2 of these. You might need some pliers for this one if you want to get these really tight. Okay, so those 2 are in, and then you're going to mount your optical end stop, which is pretty awesome, into those standoffs that you just put in. Part's really hard because the extrude gets in the way. I almost feel like this part should be done before you add it to the top. Okay, that's nice and snug there too. And then when this goes up, the Allen wrench, little Allen set thing that I didn't know what it was for before, now I know what it does. It basically blocks the eyes and triggers the end stop. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other 2. It's going to be the same process. You insert the 2 standoffs and then you screw in the optical end stop with the 2 M3 by 8 millimeters, and then we'll move on after we get all 3 done. Yeah, this would have been definitely easier to do all first. So my recommendation is to follow the manual on how to install all this stuff, but do the top plate first, everything top plate, and then bolt it with the extrude. So it really helps to hold it with an Allen wrench from the bottom and then screw it. Okay, that part is done. Whew. Okay, so we are actually in about an hour and a half now.